Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cosmic Waves Tarot. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy to see you. Today we have a little bit of a different style of video. I'm not going to be doing a typical reading, but instead I'm going to show you some cards and kind of talk about how they've played out in my life recently. So back in August, I made a short here on YouTube, and I posted about the cards that I would be using to manifest in August. So once a month or so, I like to go through the tarot and kind of pull some of the cards that I'm feeling connected to, or that I really want to bring in that energy for the upcoming month. So this past August, I picked 5 cards, one for each element of the tarot, and then one major arcana card. So I pulled the 10 of Cups, the 4 of Swords, the Knight of Pentacles, the 8 of Wands, and the Magician. And I feel like this month just really was so literal in terms of how these cards played out for me. So I thought I would just give a little bit of a story time and tell you about how my month of August went and how I see these cards kind of playing out over the past month, and then now we're into October. So if this is of interest to you, I hope you stay and watch, and please do subscribe to my channel so that you can see my shorts and the short form content that I post as well. As always, if you're interested in a reading about your question, that's my favorite thing to do on this channel. So please do comment with your questions or with your feedback, with your thoughts. I just love to hear from you. So anything that you guys want to share, I would love to hear. So let's get into it. As I said, I had pulled the Magician, the 8 of Wands, the Knight of Pentacles, the 4 of Swords, and the 10 of Cups. So I just kind of pulled the cards that I was interested in, that I thought would be good energy for the month. And mostly this month was a time of transition and some very big life changes for me. So I'll talk first kind of about why I picked each card and what type of energy I was trying to pull in. And then I'll talk a little bit about what happened and how I saw that play out. So cups in the tarot correspond to our emotions and our relationships with other people. The 10 is all about kind of the maximum. It's the last number of the tarot card before it gets into the court cards. So here you can see this 10 of Cups is about the totality, or the most kind of satisfaction you can have in this area. It depicts this couple with their children, a beautiful family underneath this gorgeous rainbow above them. And the 10 cups are in the sky. They're standing there with their arms out, kind of in praise or just in awe of the life they have. We can see a house in the background, beautiful lake, very, very serene, beautiful type of image here. And so the 10 of Cups really symbolizes the peak fulfillment in your emotional realm, in your family relationships, in your intuition and your emotions. So it's a time of really great joy, really meaningful excitement, really deep bonds. And it's just a very, very beautiful card, useful for pretty much anyone and everyone. I think everyone wants to feel this kind of sense of family, sense of place, sense of deep connection. And so that's what I was trying to call in with this 10 of Cups. Then I also pulled the 4 of Swords. Swords in the tarot are all about our mind, our logic, kind of that critical thinking side that we all have, the intellect. And the 4 is a card about stability and rest in the tarot. So here we see this figure laying down A lot of times people incorrectly think that this figure is dead, and he's not actually dead, but the traditional reading in the tarot is that he is taking a rest, and you can see that he's inside a church, which is traditionally a place of sanctuary and some place where you can go to get away from kind of the everyday stress. So it's a place of reflection and kind of recharging, rejuvenating. So I wanted to call in this kind of restful energy, this zen, and just wanting to find a stable peace of mind, wanting to feel how recharged this young man in the card looks. So that was my thought with this Four of Swords. And then I had a similar thought with the Knight of Pentacles. Pentacles in the tarot correspond to our material realm. So our health, our money and finances, our home. And the Knight corresponds to bravery and to courage and valor in this area. So it looks like marrying these two themes together. The Knight is very stable here. He's very sure of himself. The horse is standing on all 4 feet here. And we can see this nice plowed field behind them, kind of symbolizing that there's work to be done, but we're very much connected to that physical material world. So the Knight of Pentacles is all about being brave but grounded in your material world, perhaps increasing your resources, but it's really about stability and just feeling like you really do have that foundation. So you have everything that you need and you feel comfortable, just like you can, really ground yourself in what's around you. And so this is always a very good card for feeling very secure in your job, feeling very at home, feeling healthy and very stable in that way. So this is always a good energy that we like to see. And so I pulled that to just really feel that grounding, that stability in the month of August. Next up, I pulled the 8 of Wands. Wands in the tarot correspond to passion, creativity, sexuality, and just that vital life energy. And the 8 here, you can see all the wands are lined up the same way and just kind of shooting forward. The 8 here corresponds to quick energy, quick movement, some swiftness, and it just looks like everything is really aligned, everything's moving in parallel. There's no lines that are crossed. Everything is moving in the right direction and it's going quickly. So we have a really good sense of movement here, and I wanted to bring in that energy of feeling a lot of kind of creative inspiration, seeing fast growth, fast changes. So it does kind of contradict perhaps with these two cards, the Four of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles, because it seems like, okay, on the one hand, kind of calling in this grounding, restful energy, but at the same time wanting more rapid movement and more, I guess, just inspiration and things happening quickly in my creative life. But I think as I describe what happened in August, you'll kind of get a sense of how these two themes came together. And then finally, I pulled the Magician for my Major Arcana card. And the Magician is actually the second card right after the Fool. It's all about manifesting our desires and being able to be the masters of our own reality. As you can see, the Magician has all the elements on the table in front of him. He has the pentacle, the cup, the sword, and the wand. And he's got this just really interesting, powerful energy. I really like this stance that he's holding up this wand to the sky, but pointing down and grounding to the earth as well. He's surrounded by all these flowers, which indicate life force and positive energy, growth, potential. So, as I said, the Magician is just about understanding that we have all the tools within us to be able to make our desires a reality. And so, yes, we have to put in the work. The Magician can't just sit back and relax while everything happens, but, he has to go and perform the rituals and make sure that everything is as it should be. So I just really felt this August like, okay, I want to feel empowered and able to manifest what I'm looking for in my life. And so I'll actually start with this card in terms of what happened in August. At the very beginning of August, my fiance and I started looking at homes in our city, and we had kind of been entertaining the idea for a while of moving, but our lease in our apartment was coming up, and we thought, well, maybe let's just kind of start looking and dipping our feet in. We weren't really sure what was going to happen or what type of homes were available, especially given our budget. But we decided to look and just kind of start exploring the possibility of home ownership. And so I feel like this energy of the Magician was with me right away, where from the very beginning of the month, I felt like, okay, let me start seeing what I can do to change my circumstances, change my reality, and just kind of get into a different situation, really a different chapter of my life. And so this energy continued. We very quickly met someone who became our buyer's agent, our real estate agent, and I felt like we really liked him. Everything went very quickly in terms of how we started looking at homes. Once we had looked at a few, we really got a sense of what we were looking for. And so that kind of brings me back to the Knight of Pentacles, because I really started to feel like I wanted that more permanent sense of home. Sometimes when you're in an apartment, it does feel like home, but you know that it's not necessarily the most permanent situation. Especially when your lease comes up, you really have to make that decision. Do I stay here? If the rent is increasing, what do I do? It feels like you don't necessarily have the same control over your environment that you do if you're in your own property. And so I just felt like I was really looking for this sense of stability and more kind of this grounding, this sense of permanence, a real sense of community, and just to feel more ownership over my space and to feel like I could be able to paint the walls without worrying about the security deposit or be able to change things more dramatically than I could in a rented space. So I felt this Knight of Pentacles energy kicking in the more I considered home ownership and the more I thought about kind of the benefits of the space that I would have and the situation that we would be in. Also, I felt like I was kind of getting to this place corresponding to the Four of Swords where I would just feel much more at ease mentally. In my apartment, we had a small space, which was very comfortable for us, but as I said, it wasn't fully our own. And it was just in the city, so we didn't really have any green space around us. We couldn't see as much of the sky. And so the more I started looking at houses in the area, the more I realized it was important for me to have that kind of space and to feel just more at peace, even in my own mind. And so this energy kind of came to me because obviously for a while we were looking, we weren't sure if we were going to move on it, but I feel like once you kind of have your mind made up and you feel at peace about your decision, that's when you know you're doing the right thing. And so as we continued searching, this Four of Swords energy just really stayed with me. I felt very at peace about what we were doing and just very excited and really at a sense of calmness about the future. At the same time, of course, things were moving very quickly because we had to decide if we were going to renew our lease or not. So really within 2 weeks of meeting our agent and starting to look at homes, we had found a house that we really liked, and we made an offer on it, and it was ultimately accepted. So it went very, very fast. I'm based in the US, as you may have guessed, and I've heard of people, especially in cities, that spend many months or even a year looking for a house that really suits them. And so I was totally not expecting for the situation to move as quickly as it did. But the stars just really aligned, and we found a property we really liked. We worked with someone we really liked, and we were able to get all the pieces in order that we needed to ultimately complete the sale this past September. So I just felt like everything really aligned very nicely, just like in this card. And yes, we had to make some quick decisions, and yes, things moved very fast. But everything felt very aligned and just like, okay, we are moving in the right direction, and it's going quickly because we know that this is what we want. And so it was very exciting, of course, very rapid, but like I said, I just felt very good about it, and I understood that everything was kind of unfolding like it was meant to be. And that brings me finally to the 10 of Cups. As I said, my fiance and I were in this process together, and this was really exciting and fulfilling for us to be able to move towards having our first home together. Both of us were first-time buyers, and so we learned a lot about the process, and we learned a lot about each other and what we wanted. And just throughout the whole thing, we became much more transparent with each other. We shared not only our emotions and how we were feeling about it, but of course the very practical matters, financially, being very open with each other about not only our numbers, but our comfort level of where we were at and where we wanted to be. So I felt like this process really brought us much closer together, which was such a wonderful experience. I know that buying a home can be fairly stressful, and so I was just so grateful that everything went really smoothly and that it was actually an opportunity for us to bond and not something that caused friction between us. So I really, really felt this 10 of Cups energy, that the two of us felt really close, really fulfilled, and even that this, little house is here is just such a sweet and perfect touch, I think. So it kind of just was the completion of a cycle in a way as well. We had moved on from our apartment life, and we were really committing to making this very big investment together, which was the end of one cycle and the completion of a chapter in our lives that we did really enjoy, but the start of something new together. So that is my summary of the month of August. As I said, if you enjoyed this video, I hope you subscribe so that you can see more examples of this type of situation. I did pull some cards for October as well, so if you liked this, I'll revisit and describe about how my October went. So please let me know if you have any questions, any feedback. As always, if you want me to read for you or your situation, I'm very, very happy to. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will be back to doing kind of question readings, but I want to hear your feedback, so don't be shy, don't hold back. Just let me know what you're thinking. Thank you so, so much, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day.